You didn't come across this message by accident. It found you at exactly the moment it needed to. There is something within you. Call it intuition, call it spiritual timing, call it divine alignment, that brought your eyes to this before the 16th of July. In a world filled with distractions, random content, and mindless scrolling, not everything you see truly speaks to your soul. But this does, and that means something. The first realization is this: the right message arrives not when you demand it, but when you are finally open enough to receive it. Life operates in cycles, just as nature has its seasons, times of growth, times of shedding. Your life too has phases. There are moments of stillness, moments of chaos, and moments of quiet transition. What most people fail to recognize is that transformation never announces itself loudly. It begins in subtle ways: a random message, a new thought, a sudden discomfort with an old habit. This moment right now, this exact awareness that you're experiencing, is one of those hidden doorways. And if you see it clearly, your life can shift into a completely new direction. The change you are looking for doesn't come from outside. It doesn't wait for a date on the calendar or a specific event. It begins the moment your inner world changes. The moment you see something differently. The moment you feel something shift. This isn't about July 16 being magical. This is about the fact that you are ready before it arrives. It's about preparation, readiness, willingness. Because what you are willing to see, what you are truly willing to face, will determine what changes in your life. This is not about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about recognition. To recognize that you are not who you were yesterday. That the version of you reading this now has already started to outgrow the patterns that kept you stuck. There was a time you would have ignored this, scrolled past it, doubted it, but now you're still here listening, reflecting. That means something within you is awake. Even if it's just beginning to stir, it's alive, and that's all it takes. You don't need everything figured out. You don't need the perfect plan. All you need is awareness. Once awareness is present, change becomes natural. You begin to see the habits that are no longer useful. You begin to question the beliefs that kept you small. You begin to feel the pull of something higher, and it's not found in some distant future. It's already here. Right now, before July 16, you have a choice, a decision. You can treat this as just another passing idea. Or you can pause, breathe, reflect, and begin to show up for your own transformation. Begin to take responsibility for the person you are becoming. Begin to notice your thoughts, your routines, your energy. Begin to challenge the parts of you that keep hiding. Because your life isn't waiting for you in a dream. It's waiting for you in this moment. And the moment you realize that, you're free. The heaviness starts to lift. The noise begins to quiet. You see through the illusion of not yet and step into the power of now. That is where change begins. That is where your new life starts, not in fireworks or loud breakthroughs, but in the silent choice to move forward with awareness. So if you've seen this before the 16th of July, understand this. Your life is already shifting. The only question is, will you step into it consciously or let it pass you by unnoticed? You already know the answer. Trust it. Change begins with awareness, not circumstance. This is one of the most overlooked truths in life. People often wait for external events, a new job, a relationship, a financial opportunity to bring transformation. But real change doesn't start with what happens around you. It starts with what awakens within you. If you find yourself seeing this message before July 16, then the shift has already started. Not in your surroundings, but in your state of mind. The moment you become aware that your current way of thinking no longer serves you, your transformation has already begun. We've been taught to believe that conditions must improve for us to feel different, that happiness, purpose, and peace are rewards we earn once the world aligns with our desires. But this is an illusion. You don't wait for the world to change before you feel free. You feel free, and your experience of the world begins to shift. That is the nature of inner mastery. Life mirrors the state of your awareness. If your mind is cloudy, the world seems chaotic. If your mind is calm, even storms can feel like gentle waves. Awareness is the inner light that reveals the truth. It's the moment when you recognize that the thoughts in your mind are not always facts, that your emotions, while valid, are not always indicators of reality, that your story, the one you've told yourself over and over, is not set in stone. It can be edited, it can be rewritten. But none of that is possible unless you first see it, truly see it, and that's what awareness gives you, the ability to see clearly. It's easy to live unconsciously, to move through the day on autopilot, to react out of habit, to stay loyal to patterns, even when they cause suffering. This is the path of least resistance, but also the path of least growth. The alternative is much harder, but also far more powerful. To wake up, to question, to choose differently, and to do it not once, but repeatedly until the new becomes natural. That is the discipline of awareness. It's not enough to know that change is possible. You must feel that change is necessary. There comes a point in every person's life where the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. That point is sacred. It's the threshold of transformation. And if you are hearing this message now, then you are either at that threshold or already crossing it. You may not be certain where the path will lead, but certainty is not required. Only courage is. July 16 is not a magic day. But the time leading up to it may very well be magic, because it can awaken in you a sense of urgency. A moment of pause, a sacred window where you ask yourself, what am I really doing with my life? And more importantly, who am I becoming? These questions are not for the mind. They are for the soul. And when you answer them with honesty, you begin to reclaim the direction of your life. The shift from unconscious to conscious living is subtle but radical. You begin to notice your reactions. You observe your thoughts without judging them. You respond rather than react. You slow down not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to be deliberate. This is the sign of awakening, and once awareness takes root, change becomes effortless, not easy but natural. Because now you are no longer working against yourself. You are working with yourself. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Awareness has already arrived. All that remains is what you will do with it. Before every breakthrough comes discomfort. This is the universal law of transformation. Whether it is the seed breaking through the soil, the muscles stretching under pressure, or the heart confronting its fears, growth always carries with it a degree of pain. But it is not the kind of pain that destroys. It is the kind that reveals. If you've been feeling uncertain, restless, or even confused lately, do not panic. These are not signs of failure. They are signs that something within you is shifting, preparing to evolve. You are being stretched not to break, but to expand. There is a reason we resist discomfort. The human mind craves familiarity. It seeks the known, the predictable, the safe. Even when those things no longer serve us, we cling to them because they are comfortable. But comfort is not the same as peace. Comfort often hides stagnation. It numbs awareness. It keeps you locked in cycles that slowly drain your energy and spirit. Discomfort, on the other hand, is the signal that you're reaching the edge of your current identity. It's the friction that tells you a new version of yourself is being born. Most people misunderstand discomfort. They run from it, medicate it, or silence it with distractions. But the wise learn to listen to it. They treat discomfort not as the enemy, but as the teacher. Because discomfort always points to where attention is needed. Maybe it's a habit that needs to be broken, a relationship that has outlived its season, a truth that you've been avoiding, or a gift within you that's been buried for too long. Whatever it is, the feeling of unease is not random. It's a map. Follow it. You may be wondering why this discomfort has increased now, just before July 16. The answer is simple: because you're ready. Readiness is not about confidence. It's about willingness. And when you become willing to let go of what no longer aligns with your growth, life begins to challenge you, not to punish you, but to refine you. Every breakdown you experience is the breaking apart of a false belief. Every emotional storm is washing away an old identity. The discomfort is not chaos. It's preparation. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't become a butterfly in a peaceful transition. It dissolves. Its old form is broken down completely within the cocoon. Only then does it emerge, transformed. And so it is with you. The discomfort you are feeling now is the cocoon. It is the sacred, silent, and sometimes painful process of becoming. Trust it. Do not try to rush it. Let it do its work. You are not falling apart. You are being restructured. This discomfort is also a test of commitment. Anyone can dream of a better life, but only those who are willing to endure the discomfort of change will experience it. The question is not whether you are capable, it is whether you are committed. Will you keep going even when it's hard? Will you keep believing even when results don't show up immediately? Will you trust the process even when it feels uncertain? That is where transformation happens, not in perfect clarity, but in courageous consistency. So if you've been feeling uncomfortable emotionally, mentally, spiritually, understand this. You are on the edge of something powerful. Stay present, stay open, breathe through it, walk through it, because on the other side of this discomfort is the version of you you've been asking for. Let go of the need to control it. Let go of the desire for it to be easy. Embrace it for what it is, the labor pains of your next level. This discomfort is not your end. It is your beginning. And if you honor it, if you endure it with awareness and discipline, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned than ever before. You don't need more time. You need more presence. This is where most people get it wrong. They keep waiting for the right time, for the stars to align, for the perfect conditions to begin. But life doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to attention, to awareness, to the full presence of your energy in this moment. The idea that you must wait until everything is clear before taking action is an illusion. Clarity does not come before movement. It comes through movement. Each day you delay, you feed the illusion that you are not ready, but you are not waiting for time. You are delaying the decision to become present. The most powerful changes do not take place in the future. They take place in a single breath in the here and now. All the strength, clarity, peace, and purpose you seek exist in this very moment. But to access it, you must stop living in your mind and start living in your body. In your breath, in your awareness, presence is not just stillness. It is power. It is the full engagement of who you are with what is. When you are present, fear fades. When you are present, distractions lose their grip. When you are present, your intuition sharpens. You begin to hear the quiet instructions of your inner life, and you no longer chase validation from outside. And that's where real transformation begins, not in outer achievement, but in inner attention. Think about how often you've said, "I'll start tomorrow," or "maybe next week will be better." These are phrases of avoidance, not wisdom. The mind creates excuses. The body, the breath, the spirit. These are always ready. They are always grounded in now. And now is the only place your life is ever happening. When you stop waiting and start showing up fully, even your smallest action becomes sacred. If you see this message before July 16, then your opportunity is not in the future. It is right now. Before that date arrives, ask yourself, How present have I really been? How often do I drift into worry about tomorrow or regret about yesterday? And how would my life feel if I brought my full self to every moment instead? The shift you're looking for does not require you to become someone else. It only requires you to return to who you really are beneath the noise. Presence peels back the layers. It removes the masks. It reveals the strength and clarity that were buried under distraction and self-doubt. And the more present you become, the less you seek outside approval. You realize you already have everything you need to begin. No more waiting for signs. This is your sign. No more delay. This is your moment. Be where your feet are. Feel your breath. Bring your mind home to this body, this moment, this opportunity, because what you do now, what you choose now, will echo far beyond July 16. The future isn't waiting for you. It's being shaped by you right now in your next breath. What you feed grows. This is one of the most overlooked principles of life, yet one of the most powerful. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you dwell in, every action you repeat, these are the seeds you are planting in the soil of your reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are always watering something. The question is not if you are growing something, but what you are growing. And that awareness makes all the difference. If you constantly feed your fear, you will grow more reasons to be afraid. If you fuel your anger, you will find more things to be upset about. If you give your energy to regret, you will stay chained to the past. But the reverse is also true. If you feed discipline, it will become your strength. If you nurture clarity, it will expand. If you focus on gratitude, peace will become more natural. Whatever you give your energy to intentionally or not begins to shape your internal and external world. Life responds to your attention. This is not just spiritual theory. It is a reality that can be observed. Where you place your focus, your energy flows. And where energy flows, life begins to grow. If your focus is scattered, pulled in 100 directions, consumed by comparison, fear, or doubt, then your energy is leaking. You won't feel grounded, and you won't see clear progress. But if you gather your focus and direct it like a laser on what truly matters, then transformation becomes inevitable. Not overnight, but gradually, steadily, like the rising sun. Before July 16, you are being given a choice. Not a dramatic external decision, but a quiet daily one. What will you water? What will you feed with your time, your focus, your thoughts, your habits? Will you continue to feed the old identity, the one who doubts, delays, and distracts? Or will you begin to nourish the part of you that wants to rise? The part of you that's ready to lead, to grow, to evolve beyond the familiar. You may not control every thought that enters your mind, but you do control what stays. You do control what you nurture. Just like a gardener must pull weeds to protect the harvest, you must be willing to pull out the limiting beliefs, the excuses, the habits that steal your power. This is your responsibility. No one else can do it for you. No one else should do it for you, because the garden of your life is sacred, and it responds only to the one who tends it with care. Growth is not loud, it is not flashy. It is often invisible to others, and even to yourself, until one day you realize you've changed. You no longer react the way you used to. You no longer settle for what once satisfied you. You have been quietly feeding strength, clarity, and purpose, and now it is bearing fruit. So ask yourself sincerely, what have you been feeding? And is it helping you become who you truly want to be? If not, shift your focus, redirect your energy, choose again, because what you feed grows, and you are always planting something. Make it something worth becoming. 2/2, your life is already changing. The question is, will you notice? Transformation does not always arrive with noise or obvious signs. In fact, most of the time, the most profound changes happen quietly beneath the surface. They begin in your thoughts. They begin in the subtle way you respond differently to something that once triggered you. They begin in the small shift of your morning routine, in the new discipline you choose when no one is watching. And yet, because they are quiet, they are often overlooked. People keep searching for a moment when everything will feel different. But the change has already started long before it ever becomes visible. There is a sacred power in recognizing that you are not the same person you were even 1 month ago. Even 1 week ago, something inside of you has shifted. You may not be able to name it, but you can feel it. Maybe it's a deeper sense of dissatisfaction with what you used to tolerate. Maybe it's a renewed sense of curiosity about who you really are. Maybe it's the way you now pause to breathe instead of react. These are not small things. These are seeds of awareness, and they grow into real, lasting transformation if you continue to notice and nurture them. What keeps people stuck is not that they don't grow. It's that they don't recognize their growth. They miss it. They overlook the internal victories. They don't see the quiet strength it takes to show up every day and try again. They are so focused on external milestones, money, status, applause, that they ignore the deeper evolution happening within. And so they feel lost, not because they are failing, but because they are unaware of their own progress. Awareness is the key. When you learn to observe yourself with clarity and honesty, you begin to see just how far you've come. You start noticing the space between stimulus and response. You notice your patterns. You understand your triggers. You observe your choices with compassion rather than judgment. This is the beginning of self-mastery. Not control, but awareness. Because from awareness comes choice. And from choice comes transformation. If you see this before July 16, you are being given an opportunity to slow down and witness your own becoming. To pause long enough to say, something is shifting in me and I choose to honor it. When you notice your own growth, you feed it. You strengthen it. You give it room to expand. But when you ignore it, when you treat your own evolution as invisible, you weaken the connection to your purpose. You don't need a dramatic sign to confirm your progress. You only need to be present enough to notice how much stronger, wiser, and more grounded you've already become. This is not about perfection. It's about presence. The truth is, your life is already changing. The winds have already shifted. The inner work you've done is already taking root. But growth that is unseen can still be reversed if it goes unrecognized. So pay attention, reflect, observe, celebrate the subtle changes. Feel the energy of your own becoming. Because when you notice the change, you accelerate it, and when you honor it, it becomes permanent. You are not waiting for transformation. You are already in the middle of it. The question is, are you aware enough to realize it?